And only one goal today, and it is to share with you what is possible on the web. I think I'm very excited about analytics. It's mostly because I'm very, very excited about the power of the web, and I truly do love what the web has done and what is possible going forward. I think it's already changed our lives, and it's going to change our lives even more. So I'm more than anything a huge fan of the internet and the power that it brings to each and every one of us. And then what you will see reflected today, I hope, is sort of what is the art of possible in terms of measurement for the web. I have a lot of simple things to tell you, some complicated things to tell you, and it's not to overwhelm you with a lot of data and things like that, but just to tell you what is possible. So as you plot out the next 12, 18 months, 2 years of your company, that you remember these things are possible. When you do them, I think will depend on the evolutionary curve that you're on in your company, but that's the only goal I have today. So that's my book, and the interesting thing is my book has taught me a lot of things. And the very first thing is that I started writing my blog 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, and after 6 months, somebody from Wiley said they want to make it into a book. And I thought they were joking, because why would people pay for something that is free? It turns out they pay. They pay all over the world. It's Russian and Portuguese and Korean, and there's Italian and Japanese, so many languages. So it turns out that you can make money. People like to pay for free things, which is an important lesson for me to learn, because I did not think that was possible. And the other thing is, I did not start out to be an author. I started to write a blog, do something I'm passionate about. And that's the thing about the web. You take risks. You go out and do things that are interesting, and it leads to amazing outcomes. Of course, I work at Google, which is, just a few days back, I was reflecting back that Google is 10 years old. I think last year it turned 10. It's like a little baby. and yet you see what the company has accomplished in this short amount of time period is astounding. It's astounding what it has done. This is a doodle for Google. It was done by my daughter. She did this last year when she was 6 years old. And the thing, it's amazing to me that this company that does no advertising, although we hope you all do, that this company has that much power to reach a 6-year-old, which is, to me, is astounding. So I never asked her to do this for me, and yet she's inspired enough to do this. And when she gave it to me, I was still not working at Google, and then she gave it to me and said, "Daddy, I made you a doodle." And I thought, damn it, now I have to work at this company. So here I am. So that's my daughter, Damini. It's very fleshed out. And she's 7 now, and my son, Chirag, he's 4 years old. So I want to start by talking about accountability, because to me, that is the power of the medium. And I will start with him. And I think the jury's out on him. It'll take a few years for us to figure it out. But President Bush made a lot. He had a very interesting philosophy around making decisions. And he used this strategy called faith-based initiatives. His faith was very important to him. And I'm not judging that. It was just something very important to him. And he used that to make small and big decisions. And I love this term. So he's truly taught me this term. To me, this is a faith-based initiative. This is an ad for a car in a magazine. And you could replace this ad in a TV, in one of these other mediums. And it is a faith-based initiative, because what can you measure about it? What can you measure about the success of the Chevy Malibu in a magazine? You could perhaps measure how many subscribers this magazine has. You could perhaps measure the number of newsstand sales. How much did it sell on newsstands? And I think you have reached the limit of understanding if this was worth it. Perhaps the magazine might be asking the subscribers to tell them their demographic and psychographic information. So when I get Newsweek, I fill out the form, and I say I'm a 27-year-old African-American woman, and they will report it to you. And you use that to make decisions. This is not a faith-based initiative. It's an ad for the same car on yahoo.com. And it is not a faith-based initiative because you can measure exactly how many people saw this ad. And you can measure how many people interacted with the ad because you can measure how many people clicked on it. Right there. But the most wonderful genius, the reason this is not a faith-based initiative is that this ad was shown to people who wanted to see it. I think we underestimate the power of relevance in advertising. This ad was shown not to a 90-year-old grandmother without a driver's license. It was shown to somebody who wanted to see the ad. It already beats the hell out of that magazine or the TV ad. But of course, this is not the end of the story. If somebody clicks here, I can measure exactly how many people come to the website, how many people interacted with the car, how many customized it, how many applied for financing, how many people scheduled a test drive, requested a brochure. There is infinite accountability to the dollar that I spent on Yahoo doing paid search advertising. And that's the thing I want you to remember. I want you to remember that online marketing is not a faith-based initiative. There is an astounding amount of accountability you can get for every dollar, peso, or yen you spend online. And you should demand it. And one of these days, I think the world will wake up and demand the same kind of accountability from TV and magazines. Right? I'm not saying you should not run TV ads. I want you to understand the difference between the accountability that comes with each. Right? So the rest of the talk is about the advantage of having analytics. And I think that a lot of people probably make the bucket too low. So one of the things I want to do is stretch the definition of what it means to have access to data. Right? So the first thing is, it is amazing. My last actual job was as the Director for Research and Analytics at Intuit, which is a small $3 billion company in the Valley. And in that job, I was paying something close to $590,000 a year to have access to data. And the astounding thing is I can have the same data for free now, right? Like I could go to, I want to have my website, this is my blog, and I want to measure, and if I want to do that, it is brain dead easy for me to do that, right? So all I do, if I want to track this website, I log into Google Analytics or take any other tool, whatever you're in love with. I will copy this piece of code. I will go back to my blog. This is how it looks in the back end. It looks more ugly. It's prettier in the other screenshot. I will literally click here once. I will go to this screen, and I will paste that here. See Google Analytics, click tracks. These are the other tags I have. And I hit save in the footer file. Happy birthday. I'm done. 80% of what you will see me talk about today can be done with this. That's it. That's all it takes. It's not that hard. As in everything in life, you can make analytics as complicated as possible. Right? If you want to be an Olympic size, you want to compete with Michael Phelps in the Olympics, you better train every day. Right? It takes a lot of work and a lot of complexity, but it's not that hard to get going. It's not hard to get started, right? And before we go anywhere, I'm going to talk a lot about Google and Google Analytics today. So I want to talk about privacy first. I want to open by talking about privacy. Because a lot of people say, where's my data going? What do I do with it? What the hell does Google do with it? Scary people from Google. And the thing that I wanted to tell you is that we at Google hold your trust with us as probably the most holy thing possible we can get from you. Your trust is the most important thing that we could ever have. And we realize how fragile it is. We realize how important it is. And so Google Analytics, Google is the only tool, it's the only tool that you can get in free in the market that comes with its own privacy settings. It's the only tool. You can go into analytics before you start tagging your website, and you can make these two choices. You can say, I would like to share my data, or I would not like to share my data. And if you share your data, it is not used for anything other than creating some standardized benchmarking reports. And every time somebody touches your data, you will be notified. But the thing I want you to remember is you can choose option 3. If you choose option 3, there is a legally binding terms and conditions on Google to respect your privacy. It says, do not share my data with anyone. Inside Google, outside Google, nowhere. Your excuse to not using data is not that I don't know what happens to my data. You tell us what you want to do with it, and we will respect your choice. It's very, very important to understand. We treat your privacy and your trust with the utmost care. But the other thing is, nothing that I'm going to talk about is so unique that you cannot do it with any other tool. This is Yahoo's free web analytics tool. It runs on my blog as well. I love it. It's very good. If you don't want to use Google's data, that's okay. Go use Yahoo's. Go get Microsoft. Go get Omniture. I don't care. What I care about is that you use data. Because at the end of the day, your success and ours is predicated on you actually making data-driven decisions. Right? All right. This is a great quote. Right? Remember that. In God we trust. Everyone else brings data. Once you actually tag your website at the end of that 3-minute process that I described, it's actually very easy to get access to information. So as soon as you log in, you have very, very simple and easy to understand reports that show you how traffic is doing on your website. You know, what are the sources of traffic? How am I doing in terms of goals? You can very quickly look at data very visually. This is my blog's data for last month, February 9 to March 11. And I had 353 visits from Argentina. Go Argentina. Right. So people do care about analytics in Argentina. I can drill down. I don't know where this city is, but I love this one person who cares enough about analytics to read my blog. The thing is, every time you run a TV campaign, for the next 48 hours, look at this view. Look at this view to see if your ad had the right effect. Did it drive people to check out the lowest cost channel that you ever have, which is the web, right? It's actually very, very practical because you can go in and see not only what cities and people come from, you can focus on outcomes, right? That was 20%, that was 8%. It's really easy to say, am I getting people to come? Or are they doing the right thing? Not just that, when they come to my website, what do they read? What content are they interested in? I can pull out that one person from the city I cannot pronounce, and I can understand exactly what that person saw, right, if I want to. And of course, you can see if I have no e-commerce on my website, it says no ads, no e-commerce, but if I did, I could go in and see what do people buy, right? It's really, really, really easy for you to get this far, this deep into the data. In 10 minutes, think about it. In 10 minutes, you understand exactly how many people come to my website, where do they come from, what do they read, and if there is an e-commerce component, what did they buy? It's a great way for you to understand what is actually happening on your website and be very productive. But one of the things that we're on a constant quest on is to make things very easy to understand for you. Right? So one of my most favorite metrics in the world is bounce rate. I wrote a post about this on the official Google blog last month, and I call it the sexiest metric on earth. It's sexy because it's very hard to misunderstand. Think about the last time you fell in love with a man or a woman, and they were easy to understand, right? I love this metric because beyond visits and page views, which are the currency that a lot of people use, this metric measures customer experience. And this is slang in American, but this is the definition of the metric. It measures the number of people who come to your website and do not even give you one pathetic click. Think of the lowest bar God could create. This would be it. You come to my website and give me one click, just one. One pathetic click, not buy, not give me a lead, not convert, one pathetic click. And you could not even get one. I call it measuring how much you suck. Right? Because you can, tomorrow, do this. Go back to your office and measure the bounce rate of your website, right? Simple. It's very easy to understand. 7 out of 10 people in the first case left right away, and 3 out of 10 people left right away. Well, that's good, that's bad. It's really easy, right? And more than that, it is very actionable. It's very, very actionable because I can go in and say, I got all this traffic, all these websites, they're all great. This is my friend Fernando's website in Spain. He runs the Foto Natura, which is the Flickr of Spain, and this is his data. He doesn't just focus on this view. Where does my traffic come from? This is okay. It's not bad, but it's more important. Is it good quality traffic? Right? It's even more important. It's very important to know. So in case, I should use a different screenshot because this says Google is not good, but it is good. But you know, that was 62% bounce rate. Do you still care about that 4,200, 800? Or is this to 3,600 better? We could look at that. Fantastic. 2 seconds. Who are my BFFs? Is a BFF American acronym, best friends forever? You can go back and say, what keywords are working for me? This is a nonprofit. They use Adwords to find the right customers. A nonprofit. And then this is how they measure success. What keywords are driving traffic to our website and which ones are bad? Or the most common question a lot of people ask me is, I don't know where to start fixing my website. It's a very common question. Oh, what is broken? Everybody loves and adores their homepage. It's important to understand that except you, nobody cares about your homepage. Because most people use search to find things, Microsoft, Yahoo, Google, Ask, whatever the search engine is in Argentina, and they go deep into your website directly, right? I want sexy pants. Boom. I'm not on your homepage. I'm deep in your website. So go back and look at the top entry pages on your website. Top pages where people enter. And then apply the suckiness filter. Which ones of them suck? Simple. These 10 home pages for your website could not even get one pathetic click. It's a different strategy. You don't have one home page. If you have 10,000 pages on your website, you have 10,000 home pages. And this is how you figure out where to start fixing things, right? So this is one of your websites, and I saw it, and I was like, whoa. It's definitely an experiment in boldness and color. And it might well work, but I would love to know what is the bounce rate of this page, right? I would love to know what the bounce rate of this page is and see if I could fix it. Maybe different colors, something less garish. Right. Again, use data. Or this one. It's one of your popular websites, and it's very nice. It looks nicer than the other one. But this one page has 419 links. One single page. Think of the choice they're offering their customers. I'm not counting all the links that show up if you click on these buttons. There are another 500. 419 links on one page. Like, this is basically an online newspaper. Right? You take a newspaper, photocopy it, it's a website. And is that a good strategy? I don't know. But you should measure it. Say, what's the bounce rate of this page? Is there something we can do in terms of 419 unique links to make it easier for our customers? Is there anybody from this website here? I wanted them to read this article. You should read this article. There's a link just for you. and this is a phenomenal article that was written just 3 days ago by Clay Shirky. He's somebody I admire greatly. And he wrote about the future of newspaper business in the world and what it means. And I thought I would share the article with you. It's a wonderful, wonderful long article that predicts where newspapers are going. So anyway. It's not that hard. Is that hard? In another 10 minutes, you figured out what sources are your best sources, which are not. You found which pages on your website stink, and you figured out which keywords you should optimize. It's not that hard. But if you read my book, I stress a lot about measuring outcomes. And I'm a big fan of measuring outcomes because in my last company, I actually spent 2 weeks, talked to a lot of people. I was new to web analytics just 5 years ago. And I talked to a lot of people in 2 weeks, and at the end of 2 weeks, I turned off Web Trends. The company was using Web Trends. This is a great tool, by the way. And it was producing 300 reports every day. And I simply turned it off. And then, much to my astonishment, not a single human being called me for another 3 weeks. But really? This is like a $3 billion company. How come nobody misses 300 reports every day? Not one person, not even the admin. When it turns out that the problem was, as I sort of dove deeper, the problem was that none of those reports were focusing on outcomes. And this is a mistake that a lot of us make, right? We measure visits, and we measure page views, and we might measure time on site, we might measure clicks. But at the end of the day, I don't care. Don't come to me and tell me your website got 1 million visits. If you do, I will think like this. I don't care. What I care about and what your boss cares about is how much money did we make. Right? Acquiring traffic is a terrible strategy. Doing something with the traffic is the strategy you should be on. As I'm a huge fan of measuring success. What does it take? What is happening? What was the outcomes? I can go to my boss and say, not that I had 1 million visits to my website. What I say is we made $300 million, right? Or we improved customer satisfaction by 9 points. That's a great outcome. Saves money, creates future revenue. So it's not just about making money, but creating outcomes. So in 3 pieces, I want to cover what it means to be measuring success. So all you have to do, if you have a magnificently huge e-commerce websites, all you have to do to track deeply e-commerce is go into analytics, click on yes, say pesos, and copy this code. When you copy this code, put it on the order confirmation page. You know, you submit order, you see a thank you, I love you for buying my stuff. Put this on the page, right? This little thing. Copy, paste. And second, happy birthday. You're done. You will get reports like this. You can understand conversions, traction, average order value, all kinds of things by simply doing that. This one thing. That's it. Right. It is so awesome what you can do with this data. Because I put these 2 arrows together. I went, wow, what happened there? On this particular month, day, week, we made a ton of money. The world went crazy and placed a lot of orders. $600 was the average order value. Like, were we giving free stuff? Like, what were we giving? What were we doing? And it wasn't that much traffic, right? And then I say, let me look at where we converted the highest. When we converted the most amount of people, it was probably with the lowest order size. Something sucked. And the interesting thing, you look at the third view, and the next big peak in this making money comes when the conversion rate is very low. And it gives you very good food for thought. It's like, what is the fundamental thing that's going on underneath? When we convert very low people, turns out they buy a lot of stuff. But when we try to acquire the masses, essentially we lose money. That's the green. It turns out their strategy was to simply buy traffic, not buy quality traffic. Both of those peaks you see at the bottom where we executed deliberate AdWords strategy to acquire quality and relevant traffic. They got a lot fewer people to come to their website, but they made exponentially more money from those very few people. It would change how you think about your business. Right? And of course, there's deep information you can get. You can look at sales, what products sell, in what categories, cool toys. I can click down on cool toys, which cool toys are being sold, by how much, quantity, blah, 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 blah. Happy birthday. Lots of data. Go crazy. Enjoy yourself. Do this, right? It's very important. But we also measure for you. I always say life is not a one-night stand. Most marketing online is like having a one-night stand with the other sex. Like, boom, let's get it over with. And the reality is people come to your website many times and then purchase. They don't all buy in the same visit or the same session. And what we're helping you here is to understand how many people buy on the same day, And how many people buy in this long tail? Right? What's the long tail? It helps you understand the behavior of customers on your website. It's a very key. And of course, what about this? I could not believe anything Sanyo sells is that expensive, by the way. But to me, the hardest part for any marketer is to get people through from here. It's actually not that hard to get people here. You give them a coupon, you give them a lot of things, they can get here. The hardest part is what happens from here onwards. And it's easy for you to visualize that process. Right? How many people did we send in? How many made it through? 2,200, 143. And think about it. Your website is probably very complicated. It has a lot of things. A lot of stuff is going on. A lot of pages. What you're looking at here are 3 pages. 3. Unos, dos, tres. 3. The first page is so terrible, it bounces about 70% of the people exit. 70. Think of how hard you work to get them to that page, to add something to the cart, and then they decide, screw it. Another whole bunch leave on the second page. Essentially, if you shut down your entire business, lay off all the people, and fix 3 pages, you can improve your revenue 50 times. Only by working on 3 pages. Forget about everything else. I'm astounded at how rarely people focus like this. And it's very easy to understand. How many people we send to the cart, the order, get out. Simple. But the other thing is, not everything in life is about commerce. Commerce is good, making money is great, but as I went through a lot of your websites are not e-commerce based. There are educational websites, newspaper websites. Then how do you measure success, right? I said you should measure outcomes. And typically this is how we measure it. We use all these stupid metrics, page views and all this nonsense. And none of these, remember, these are not outcome metrics. Page views is the dumbest metric on earth. And it is the dumbest metric on earth because it doesn't mean anything anymore. What does it mean? Right. So here's a good example. This is my Spanish is very bad, but it looks like this is a social networking site. I did not sign up for it. I'm assuming it's something like Facebook. Yeah? No? Yeah. Yes? Similar? Yes. Good. So the way Facebook says that they measure success is they say we have these many million members. It's something like that, up or down a few million. And the thing is, this is a loser metric. It's idiotic to measure number of members. Who cares? It's not important how many people sign up to your website. What is important and adds value to your business is that they do something. It's not important that I created a Facebook profile. What is important is that I super poked everyone, or I friended everyone, or send them annoying applications. All these things add value to Facebook. The fact that you're a member does not add value to Facebook until you do those actions. So when I measure success of Facebook, I would love to measure this. It's a metric called visitor loyalty. And what it measures is the number of times people visit the website. Right? Number of times in a month, week, day, year, pick your favorite, people visited the website. And notice 40% of the people came once and never again. And another 40% came between 9 and 200 times in a month. These people clearly have no jobs or life. They're spending it all on Sonico, was it? But the thing is, as a measure of success of Facebook, this is the behavior you want and not that. So when I run campaigns, when I run programs, when I acquire traffic, when I make improvements to my website, what I want to know is, am I causing this or am I causing that? Simple. Because this adds business value. Here's another one. This is astounding. This is recency, another one of my favorite metrics. It measures the gap between 2 visits. When was I here last? From when I visited today, right? That's it. It measures the gap. So you went to Facebook twice. What was the gap? And look at the first row. What it says is 66% of the people, 66% of the people were on this website less than 0 days ago. This is crazy. Think about the level of engagement, stickiness, pick your favorite buzzword. That's going on this stupid site. 66%. Now that is behavior you can take to a venture capitalist and say, give me more money. Look, I have cool things happening. Because this is behavior of people, not just the number of people. Very, very important. But what about La Capitale, Com AR? By the way, very pretty site. Love the flag. I thought that was a great touch. This is probably how they measure success, right? The number of page views, 9. Let's say, I'm making this up. Clearly, this is not their data. I don't know what their data looks like. But what I would tell La Capitale is that don't use this measure. Use this one, the depth of visit. Not the average, but the distribution. This is the total amount of math you will get today. That 9 actually translates into 33% of people seeing one page, and then there is the long tail. Right? It makes you think very differently about your business, or about the time people spend. Don't look at the average, look at the distribution, and what you'll realize is most people, actually the biggest chunk of people spend less than 10 seconds. I came, I puked, I left. Glorious bouncing. This is a complete waste of money, right? That 35% was a waste of money. They actually cost us bandwidth. But look at that. From 60 to 1800 seconds. Now that is behavior you want. Do something simple. Segment out that traffic. Take these people, put them into a bucket, and go figure out, what do these people read? Is everybody reading about Paris Hilton, or whatever is the equivalent in Argentina? Is everybody only cares about sports, editorial? What do people love? And what about those other people who puked and left? Where did they come? What did they read? What is causing them to leave right away? And what is causing these people to stay and see a lot of ads? Right? That newspaper probably runs on ads. These people are causing the behavior that's going to make them see more ads, and that's good for this newspaper. Very different way of thinking about it. And when you analyze this data, you can focus on spending your resources correctly. So let's say we analyzed a newspaper recently, and it turns out 70% of the resources in the company, 70%, were dedicated to producing content that fell in these two buckets. 70%. 30% of the resources fell in this bucket. They were completely ignoring all this stuff. Think about that for a second. You would change your business model when you analyze one simple report and start to segment and investigate the data. Money. There's money at the end of this. Even though there's no e-commerce, there's money at the end of this. And the third thing I wanted to talk about in terms of measuring success is computing economic value. And this is very important, especially now as we head into a recession, or we are in a recession, swimming in it gloriously. It's very important. And this graph illustrates my point. And the point is that this is true for the US, probably for Argentina, but that the average conversion rate in the United States for the top e-commerce websites was 1.72%. It's probably true here. How much is 1.72%? It is the blue line you cannot see. That blue line. The thing you cannot see is the total amount of conversion you're going to get. So the game is not fun to be played in that 1.72. You should. What is more important is that. What happened to the other 98? Did we add any value? Did we drive people to a store? Did we get job applications? Did we get new leads? What was happening to the other 98 that would never convert on your website? It's very important that you quantify the value of that. And I think most of us mess up analytics because we spend our entire life focusing on the 1.72%. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't. You should. But realize you're focusing on 2%. Make that conscious, silly decision. It's okay. At least you intelligently make an irrational decision. It's okay. That is okay, right? So, one of the things that Google Analytics allows you to do is actually set more than one goal. It's very important. You can set many different goals. And this is very important in the strategy of computing economic value. So this is my blog. The hardest thing to create goals for is my blog, because I don't sell anything, I don't tell people to buy my book, I have no ads, I don't take leads, I don't care. I just write. So how do you compute the economic value of my blog? It's very hard to do, right? I have these 3 goals. And the first goal is I want people to see this page. I want people to see that page because on that page I've nicely categorized all my posts. So, conversion, customer service, and it's very nicely categorized. And the reason that page is important is because if you go to that page, you will very quickly find what you're looking for, what you want to read. And that is really important because I figured out if you read 2 posts I have written, you will be convinced of my greatness. It's a very important goal. I track it. The thing is, this is no different from the MBA school I was looking at yesterday in Argentina, and they want me to be convinced of their greatness. So I will go to that MBA school. But their site was, by the way, terrible. So measure that. The second one I measure is my About page, because when you read my About page, it makes me happy. It's like a little signal that comes to me. It's like, oh, wow, that was great. Okay, I measure happiness. In your company, measure the number of people who see the profile of your CEO on your website and report it to him or her. In our case, a her. I promise you they will love you. Because it makes them happy. They won't admit it. She's not going to admit it, but it does make her happy. Measure it. It changes cultures. But the last one's important, right? I do a lot of speaking engagements. My external speaking engagements, not like this, like conferences and stuff, I do a lot of paid speaking engagements, and people pay me a lot of money to speak. And so on this page, I just have them listed. I don't tell people to go sign up, but it's all listed here. So if you want, it's there. And then I track how many people see that page. But I've done one more thing. All the links on that page are tagged. All the conversions for those links are happening away from my website. Nothing is converting on my website. Now, at the end of the conference, I will ask the organizers, how many people converted as a result of coming from my blog? It allows me to compute that every click on that page is worth $5 US. Every click. Because a highly qualified traffic, right, people love numbers. These conferences are anywhere between $3,000 to $10,000 each. So I need a very few people to get $5. Now, I've done that for all these goals. Now, this is how it changes the dynamic once you quantify the value of your goals. I used to go to my wife and beg her to let me blog at 3 o'clock in the night. It's the only time I have. And I'd say, honey, I got these many page views and 76,000 visits. Think of how great I am. And she would just tell me, go to bed. Because she doesn't understand that number. It doesn't mean anything, right? Now I tell her, honey, in the last month, we made 19,000 fake dollars. And the thing is, she says, work harder. And that's what you have to do, right? The reason you're having a hard time selling the web is because you're not computing the economic value. What you're reporting is visits and page views that no one cares about. What people care about is the outcome. Right? It's very, very important that you do this because it changes cultures. Now remember, this is not really fake dollars. This is actually value coming back to me. It just happens away from my site. And that's okay. I don't care. Right? Making $20,000 a month on a blog that I write 3 times a month is not bad. Right? Think about that. So, take HSBC. It's a great example, right? And at HSBC, when we measure success, they probably say we want to have a lot of people buy credit cards. Now, I don't know anybody at HSBC. I have an account in HSBC India, so I love the bank. Now, they say, okay, we're going to measure success of everybody who comes to our site and applies for credit card because it adds value. So you go in, you say credit card, these many conversions, $3 million. Whatever. Right. That's okay. It's easy to compute the value of credit card applications. It's not that hard. But the interesting thing is this same website actually is selling PC banking. It's selling this other stuff that I don't know what it is. But these are the things. They want me to get self-support so I don't call them. Every time I call them, it probably costs them $50 to pick up the phone. So the web is reducing cost. It's helping them acquire people with a lot of money. Those people in the back over there. It's helping them sign up for new promotions, new campaigns. Yet, when HSBC measures success, I seriously doubt that they compute the value of all of this stuff. They don't. All they do is say, credit card, $3 million. But the reality is there are a lot more conversion happening of different kinds. You get qualified leads, you get PC banking signups, you get other promotions that people sign up for, and the number changes. Right? From $3 million to $25 million, whatever, like $3 to $25, I don't care. But the reality is, as you do business, do this. So I will tell you, there's a big American company called Caterpillar. How many people know Caterpillar? They sell the big cranes and the equipment. The cheapest thing Caterpillar sells is probably $250,000 US. The conversion cycle is 9 months. And you will not buy it on the web. Come on. It's $250,000. And yet, the Caterpillar company invests in its online spend, email, Adwords, affiliates, whatever they do, by figuring out how to compute the economic value of their website. And that's what you should do, because that changes things very much. Right? Always look end to end. Always do this. It's not that hard. So here's another simple example. At my last company, every time somebody applied for a job online, it saved us $3,000 in processing cost for HR. Every time somebody applied online. I said, damn it, that is mine. I will claim credit for the $3,000. And in a month, the company was growing and everything. In a month, that was a substantial amount of money nobody took credit for. We ran AdWords campaigns targeted to getting people to apply for jobs because we knew how much every job application was worth. That's how we ran AdWords campaigns and got a lot of qualified candidates. And speaking of AdWords, we of course do AdWords, and there's a lot of easy analysis you can do for your paid search spend. If you use Google AdWords and Google Analytics, one of the benefits is you don't have to do tagging between the two. One of the problems in measuring AdWords campaigns is, it's not a problem, an extra step with many other tools is you have to tag them, keep track of them so you can report them together. But if you use these two tools, that's all done for you automatically. You just link the two accounts, and it tells you what keywords drive traffic and what is the bounce rate, visits, all these other wonderful things. Not only that, I want you to measure conversion, so you can measure conversion. Not just for one goal, you can measure conversion for many different goals. Right? Very important. If your primary goal was to get credit card applications and everybody ended up signing for PC banking, the AdWord campaign probably still worked. Right? Measure that. And not only that, we actually bring the two different pieces of data together for you. It's very important. So this data in green is all that is happening in AdWords. How many times was your ad shown? How many times people clicked on your ads? What was the cost? $40,000 here. Like I said, this is a nonprofit, which is amazing. Their most profitable channel is AdWords, surprisingly. Cost per click, click-through rate, so you have all your AdWords data in the same place as your website data. 1.5 million impressions resulted in 52,000 visits. It feels a bit sad. But you have it. And of course, ignore those actual numbers because it is a nonprofit. It doesn't do conversions. But on your website, you can actually measure what is the outcome. Revenue per click, revenue for your investment, and your margin. All in one place. So if you do AdWords, don't simply measure the number of visits or page views. Actually go end to end. Figure out what is happening on your website, conversion rate which adds value, and look at ROI, right? Because Google success is 1,000% predicated on your success. The reason that we invest in analytics is simply because we want to make sure that you're aware of everything that's going right or wrong on your website so you can improve it and you can make a ton of money. Nowhere in my presentation am I going to tell you spend a lot of money. You should, but I'm not saying. What I'm saying is there is accountability and end-to-end view. Do this. Look for those three things, the red, the green, the blue, and you are making money for your website, right? And remember, you could do this with a free tool. If you're using Omniture, WebTrends, or any other paid tool, torture them until they give you more, right? Here's one of my favorite AdWords reports. Without exception, probably my favorite Google Analytics reports. And you notice that in analytics, in AdWords, when you bid, you can show up on many different positions, right? Any position actually costs you different amounts of money. If you show up number one, it's X amount of money. You show up at the bottom, you show up X amount of money. In this report, we not only show you how many visits you got from each keyword, you can click on one of these keywords and you can actually see visually exactly how many people came from each position. It's actually cool. Because now you can say 6,000, 3,500. Now actually, I never look on this side, by the way, as a habit. But look at that. 2,000, 1,400, 900, 500, it's still more than that. All these are much cheaper than this one. So A, you can understand how many people show up depending on where your ad shows up. But remember, I said what Google wants you to do is make a ton of money. So you can click on that drop down. You can choose conversion rate, which is your success. And we will show you exactly how the ad performs in every position for you. Not visits, outcomes, right? That's the cheapest. That's where they convert the highest, actually much higher than that. And here are some other ones. So you can say, this is very cool. Now I can use these two pieces of data to make sure I bid the right amount. So I don't necessarily always have to do ego bidding. I always want to be number one, although you should. You can say, I want to tune this down. And if you're the newspaper website, your outcome is not a conversion. Maybe time, use time, or use any other success metrics you have. We give you so many, 7 or 8 different success metrics. But this is how you can visually see how your ads are performing and spend the right amount of money. That makes the most sense for conversion for you, not for Google, for you, right? It's very, very cool. So I want to end this section by saying, getting visitors is okay. It's important that you show up. It's important you get people to your website. It's even more fun to make money. It's even more fun. So this is a concept that I love a lot myself. It's called the long tail. How many people have read Chris Anderson's book, Long Tail? Some of you, yeah? It's a great book. You should read it. To me, I am astounded at how good the book is in explaining a very important phenomenon on the web, right? And the phenomenon looks like this. So that's my blog. And last month on my blog, or 2 months ago, it had 64,000 unique visitors. And that's a lot, and that's great. 23,000 of those people came from search. It's like, wow, search is important. I will spend more on SEO. The amazing thing is, those 23,000 came on 11,500 keywords. Remember, I'm not like his website, right? Mercado Libre says everything on it that God intended. I write about one topic, one single topic, analytics, one. That one topic results in 11,500 keywords. This phenomenon is very common. Every single one of your websites probably get thousands and thousands of visits. Guaranteed. It's just how the web works. And it looks like that, right? You have a strong head, and that's probably 10 or 15 keywords, 10, 15 brand keywords. So when I look at the Argentinian GM site or Chevy site, all the 10 keywords are probably Chevy, because your brand terms are so strong. You get 10 or 12 keywords in the head, and then you have thousands and thousands and thousands of keywords. In my case, thousands and thousands and thousands. 11,490 that fall in that bucket, that individually bring between 2, 5, 10 visitors each. It's the power of the web. Now, the challenge is, how do you find these keywords? Even if you buy the phenomenon, I wanted all these keywords and get them to come to my website, how do you find them? Most people, when they run AdWords, they simply say, I will pick all the 100, 200, 300 that I know, I'm going to bid them up. The reality is you will only capture that. You're not going to capture that. So at Google, we've created a tool called the search-based keyword tool. This is not Google Analytics, a tool by itself. It's super. I love it. And I love it because this tool does two interesting things. A lot of queries are happening on google.com, right? People are searching for things. And Google has the data, right? All this wonderful data. And at the same time, the Google search engine, the robot, runs around the web and indexes it. So it understands all the content that is on the web. It knows what your website is, what it does, what you sell, things like that. So it has all this data indexed about from your content on your website and the keywords. And what this tool does is bring these two things together in one place. It says, what it's trying to say is, what are the keywords in the world that are related to the content you already have? Simple. So when I go in and type mercadolibre.com.ar, right, or you can, you get this report. And it's wonderful, because what it says is, the first thing you will see are all the queries that actual human beings are actually doing on google.com looking for you. We think looking for you, right? There they are. And exactly these many search queries for those keywords. We fudge it by plus or minus 10% so you can guess, just to make your life easier. But that's a real number, right? These are actual queries happening on google.com. The next thing we show you is the content you have that is relevant to those queries. So when I was looking for Dolce & Gabbana, you actually have Dolce & Gabbana, right? The other thing it shows you is the competition for those keywords. Are a lot of people competing for that same keyword? So you can visually understand that. We will tell you, if you were to buy that keyword, how much you should be expected to pay for a top 3 listing, right? So there are all the amount you can pay to buy those keywords. And here is the percent of traffic you are getting today. The first one is paid, and that is organic. Because we at Google fundamentally believe that your search strategy should be paid plus organic. Both are very important. So for most of these terms that are relevant to Mercado Libre, they get 0% of the traffic today. So actual people looking for stuff they have don't actually go to their website. In some cases, they get 5% through paid, 3% through organic. There's organic, no paid. You get a good understanding, right? It's a great way to look at data. And the cool thing is, you can drill down and say, what if about the home and video, audio-video category? There you go. There are the keywords, how much traffic, blah, 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 right? And not only that, but you can go into the tool and say, I would only like to pay 25 cents or less. Only 25 cents or less, right? Because in this case, when we ran this query, we found about 28,000 keywords. We found 28,000 keywords. But you may not want to buy them. That's okay. You can go in and say, I would like to pay only 25 cents. Boom. There it is. 1,020 keywords related to you that have a lot of competition, which means that's good, and pay less than 20 cents, 18 cents, 24 cents, 23 cents. You can even drill down and say, I only want to have a sale on audio-video systems. There are the keywords. There is how much you can expect to pay. This is how much you're actually getting. These are the pages these people should go to. Right? You're actually using customer data to figure out what should be in your campaigns. And that really is a great way for you to do AdWords campaigns, or with Yahoo or Microsoft, whatever you want. Because it's only so much that you can guess in terms of what people want. You can only guess. In this case, you can actually use the data from search engine. That data is free. It doesn't cost you anything. You can just go and use it through your AdWords account. And in order for you to do that, we've actually created a medium where you can run a lot of custom reports. Because as you realize, what he needs from his data is very different from what she needs from her data. very different people. Every person in this room needs a unique set of reports. And so in Google Analytics, we have released a few, 6, 9 months ago, custom reporting where you can go in and drag and drop and create metrics that just you care about. Not anyone else in the world, just you, and unique to you. And so I can go in and say, I want to look at these metrics. They are distributed everywhere. I will pull them together. I want to look at keywords, campaigns, country, and I want to look at these kinds of other things for the people who run the business. And I have one other woman in the company. She only cares about visits and time on site because her bonus is tied to it. She doesn't care about anybody else and any other part of the company. She only cares about her bonus. Okay, let's give her that. And once you do this, in 10 seconds, you actually have an ecosystem where you don't have 100 reports running around. You've gone and talked to people and create reports just they care about. And it's all in one place. So the acquisition team comes in, and they can look at just their data, right, all that data. And then the hippo comes in, or the boss, and that's his data. He only cares about money, 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 money. Doesn't even care about that. That's okay? And then Amy comes in, and she's looking at just those two things, and that's okay. And this is really how you transform cultures, because the reports that you need are not the reports that anybody else is. And it's very easy to do this if you're using Google Analytics or most other tools. But I think that the biggest failure in making decisions on the web today is probably because of this picture. I believe that most marketers today think of the traffic on their website as a monolith, as if everybody is the same. The reality is your website traffic does not look like this. It looks like that. Many different people, many different reasons, many different intentions, many different personas, many different outcomes. And yet when you report data like that, don't be surprised why you can't make any decisions. Segment your data. So in analytics, we have this feature where I can go in and say, my question is, does Google send me relevant traffic? It's a simple question. And for me, relevance is that, remember you have to read 2 posts. So to me, what is of value is you read 3, much higher bar. So I can go in and say, I want the number of people who have seen more than 3 pages on my website, because that's very important, and who come from Google. My 4-year-old son does, by the way. He created this segment. It is that easy. Like even your boss can do it. It's dangerous, but don't give him access. But even she can do it. It's that easy. It's a simple question. Do people who come from Google are of value to me? Simple. And I can go in and not look at data in aggregate. This is the first view in aggregate. Not very useful. And I can go choose the new segment I've created. And boom. It turns out of the 45,000 people who were there, 1,600 came from Google that met that criteria. Very small fraction. Very tiny. But remember, I can go back and apply this to other reports and say, hey, conversions, money, money, money. It turns out when I choose the people from Google, 1,600 people form 30% of my conversions. Now think about how you would execute for your business. Would you solve for 45,000 or would you solve for 1,600? It really helps you understand your data in a very effective way. And the true innovation in segmentation for us was this picture. Because segmentation is available in any tool that is available to you today. All tools have it. The problem is you needed to be a genius to use it. And there aren't a lot of geniuses in the world. It is sad, but there aren't. So what we did, we said, we're going to make it like Google.com. We're going to take all the complexity and sophistication and hard work and put it behind the scenes. And in front of it is just a box. You type in what you want, and it finds it for you. And this is the true inspiration for us to create segmentation and why I fundamentally believe it is so easy to use. So I can go back and do another fundamental thing. Remember I said you should measure days to purchase. How long does it take for you to purchase once you come to my website? This is an airline website data. They sell a lot of airline tickets. It's one of the largest in Australia. So it's all real data. And I won't tell you which one, but I have the permission to show this anonymously. when people come directly to their website, 70% of them buy on the same day. Now that's not surprising. Airline tickets are toxic. They become more expensive with every passing day. Damn them. Right? So it's not surprising. But what I said is, I wonder what is the profile for paid search, because we're spending money in acquiring traffic. And I created another segment called paid search, and I look at the exact same data. It turns out that number is 46%. It's like, what is happening here? These are more qualified visits. They should be converting faster. And then I go back and apply the other segment. I wonder if search is unique. So I created another segment called organic traffic. Notice the number was up to 73. That's weird. Now it turns out, for this company, by just looking at these two segments, it turns out everybody who come from paid search came with very, very, very different intentions than people who came directly or through organic traffic. So what did we do with this one report? What we did with this company is, for all the landing pages that were from paid search, we changed the call to actions. It was not hard sell, buy now, buy now, buy now. And we created 2 or 3 different tools. We created one tool, for example, when you were done with your itinerary, it would allow you to save it. Right? Another tool we created is, we created a tool where if you could tell us, and every time the price went up on your itinerary by X%, you tell us, we will send you an email. And we created a series of tools for people who were converting a lot later, and that allowed them to improve conversion rate on their paid search traffic by 0.8%. 0.8% for this company is 28 million Australian dollars. $28 million extra without actually spending more money on AdWords. That is what you should do with segmentation. It's a great example of actually pulling data out, understanding the customer behavior, and reacting to it. I like to say segment or die, but I will be polite. Segment or go home. Right? So this last part of my talk is about 3 things that I love a lot. And the one gift you get from the internet is the ability to be proven wrong fast. Think about the last time you did a TV campaign, or a magazine, or a radio campaign, or a catalog. You published a catalog and you sent it to everybody, and how long it took for you to figure out you were wrong. It takes a long time. Not on the web. Right? On the web, you can figure out you were wrong, boom, 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 really fast. You make a mistake, 24 hours, you know you screwed up. It should be liberating, that kind of honesty and speed. Right? I like to say that most websites suck because hippos create them. HIPPO is an acronym for the highest paid person's opinion. I have lived through this all my life. You go to a meeting with a genius idea, and the hippo says, I want a dancing monkey on the homepage, and you put the dancing monkey on the homepage. Because he's worth $3 billion, you're worth, at best, $30,000 a year. This is why most of the web is bad and sucks. Right? And then it's because hippos are good at making money, they're just not good at understanding customers. Right? Very important. Never let your hippo, man or woman, think that they are the customer of your company. No. They make too much money. Right? Of course, some hippos are pretty. This is all of you. You and your entrenched opinions. Or I used to joke, when I do this in New York, I say, these are the agencies with the torn jeans and the back turtleneck. Sexy people. Also hippos. Right? Remember, the strategy is you want to be proven wrong fast. So here's an example. Oh, the tool that you can use to do this is if I recommend that you use one tool for sure, I would recommend Google Website Optimizer. It's our team in Seattle. It's a fantastic product. It allows you to do A/B testing in 6.5 minutes. The only requirement for you to use this tool, it's free to all of you, everyone. The only requirement is you spend money on AdWords. No, I'm kidding. It's good if you do. It's free to use. If you have two ideas, that is the only requirement. that you have two ideas. You can run a test in 6.5 minutes. Log in, upload your creative, QA the test, launch it. 6.5 minutes. So, is this a great page? It probably is, right? But I was wondering, we ran an experiment with a company in Europe that had 19 ads on their homepage. And we reduced the ads by 30% and improved ROI exponentially. Reduced the number of ads, improved value for the site. So I said, I know nothing about Mercado Libre. I have no idea what the hell they do. I think they're very nice people because I met them this morning, but I don't know what they do. But I thought as I first landed on this website, what is my first impression? You want me to click on your ad. I call it the selfish lover strategy. You want to go first. And that's rarely a good strategy for lovers, right? You want the other person to go first. That's a long-term strategy. So I said, I wonder if Mercado Libre swapped the ad. What would happen if the first impression is the business I want to do with you, right? That's why I came. I didn't come to your site to click on your ad. I came to your site looking for stuff. So swap it. Just swap it. 6.5 minutes. And let the data tell you which one works better. Right? You got 6.5 minutes, right? Run an experiment. And you can control for risk. If you think my idea is really bad, you can say, show 70% of the people who come to my website what exists today, only show this to 30% of the traffic. That's okay. You control risk. But the interesting thing is you use data. You use data to figure out what works better, not the hippo. The hippo probably wanted the Skype ad there because it makes money for the company and it's important. But how about customers and experimenting, right? But here's another idea. I picked on them. Right? How to improve this page. I think visually there is a lot that grabs your eye on this page. Lots of things dance too. But I actually really like this one. And the reason I like this website, it's a tiny website, is that the core text is right in the middle. It's easy on the eyes. The big story is there. Here are all the graphics. And all the ads are on the side hidden away, right? I like the statement that the site makes. All this is really important. This is why you're here. P.S. Click on our ads. That's okay. It's okay. So I thought, why not go to this and try a different strategy? So I swapped the header. I swapped that. There's some orange still left. We can get rid of it later. Right? I bring my stories. Right? I bring my other two things. And there you go. Isn't that better? Now, I am not advocating you copy them. I'm not advocating you copy them. All I'm saying is you can experiment. Right? This is a much better visual experience because there's your big story of the day. Here are all the more important things. Oh, Argentina loves football. Surprise, surprise. And here are your ads. Right? Try it. See which one works better. Experiment. This is the core thing. Don't guess. Don't impose yourself on your customers. Partner with them. And as another inspiration, here is a new prototype of the New York Times. Actual running. You can go to prototype.nytimes.com and you will get this. I love it. I love it because it takes the 419 links, the crap, and makes it easy for me. All I do is click on one of these things and I get the hottest stories of the day in a box. Now, this is not pretty. This is not sexy. It is functional. And I don't know if this will become the permanent homepage of New York Times. What I love is the fact that they are experimenting. Because when you experiment, you let your customers in and let them help you decide what works and what doesn't. Right? The last thing I want to talk to you about is the data that is available about your competitors. And I will tell you two short stories. And the first one is that we have a tool called Insights for Search. How many people have used this? Oh, that's so sad. We should make sure our new CEO's job is to make sure you all use this. This is God's gift. This is great. Love it. What Insights for Search does is it allows you for the first time to access Google's organic data, which was not available to you before. So I can go in and say Mercado Libre, I love them so much, right? And say, hey, what is the volume of searches for Mercado Libre? Clearly world dominating. Think of how much it would be better if the ad was swapped. Huge, 4 year. So for all your keywords that you're interested in, do this. Does anybody else in the world care about our keywords? Most of the time the answer will be no. But it's good to know, right? The next thing you can see is where in the world do people look for that keyword? And it's not surprising Argentina is that high. But I was actually surprised Venezuela, Uruguay, Mexico was actually pretty high there. To me, it was surprised. I thought it was an Argentinian company. It's not. Huge. But I can go a step further and say when people search for Mercado Libre, what else do they search for? And it turns out all these other terms. And this is really cool because they're the hottest rising terms that are below the fold. Now I can shorten the horizon and I say I want only people from Argentina, only over the last 12 months, and what is the trend? And it's actually not bad. Look, the economy goes into recession right around here in the world, and they're actually doing better. Pretty cool. And here are the terms. In the last 12 months, the top related searches are these, and the hottest rising terms are these. Falabella. I don't know what it is. It's rising really fast. Buy it. And you can go and see what states and cities are important in the country. And so, for example, number 9, Chaco. Chaco? No, I'm going to butcher it. Anyway, number 9, not enough people. Let's do some TV ads and get more. No, I'm kidding. Don't do TV ads. Well, let's get awareness. Let's take out some magazine ads, right? And you can do this for anything you want. Here's cars. Go through the same exercise. When people look for cars, is that going up or down? Actually, a little bit down. When people look for cars, what else do they look for? And in what cities? What states? So you can better target your advertising. And the last one is around display, the display business, not the AdWords. The hardest thing in the world is to figure out, there are all banner ads we can show the entire world. But what is the best place to show relevant banner ads, right? And there is this tool called Google's Ad Planner. Have you used it? It's a great tool, yes. So it's a great tool. And what happens in Ad Planner is you can go in and say, I would like to know who are the people who visit my website and what other websites do these people tend to visit, because I want to show them advertising and get more. Or you want to crush Mercado Libre. You want to kill them. Where can I find people who are a similar audience as Mercado Libre so I can show them my ad and crush Mercado Libre? Boom. There you go. Here are the websites that have the same audience profile, demographic, psychographic, as that visit Mercado Libre. Here are how many page views they have, here are visits they have, here are the ads you can show on them, here's how many impressions you can get. All these places, Google does not have ads, you just buy them from someone else. What is important is you use data to crush Mercado Libre, or for Mercado Libre to continue that upward right trend. Rather than showing ads on cars.com, I would go and show ads on these other places. For example, this is an example, right? Or I can say fotolog.com.ar. I would like to crush them. I'm kidding. And it turns out that the audience that actually goes to their website is very international. So if your efforts are only focused on Argentina, you may actually be missing customers around the world that could have the same profile as your audience. Or sexy or no? By the way, what a site. Anyway, same thing. Right? But the other cool thing about this website is if you click on the name of the website, you can actually get access to their data as Google understands it. So this is actually the data for Mercado Libre to the best of Google's knowledge. Those many visits, those are the trends, and time on site and everything else, page views. Here are the sites that are visited, keywords, and you can compare them. I don't know if there is any competition because you're world dominating, but let's randomly pick this one. Right? So you can say, how is our competition doing versus how we are doing? Right? That's not surprising. Maybe seasonal is going down. These guys are going down faster. And any website, there's my tiny website, tiny. But look at that. Yay. Recession was good for them. It's going up and to the right. So you can get access to your competitors' data. So you can react to it. And the great thing about having competitive intelligence is you're not just looking for data that only you have, you're looking at data that other people have. And you can make much more intelligent decisions. This is why I think analytics is awesome. Think of all the things we did today. Just improve our website, improve our campaigns, look at our competitors, look at our keywords, go outside, run experiments, create better things for our customers. And that's really the thing that I want you to remember. Online marketing is not a faith-based initiative. And now you know exactly what to do. Thank you.